These strange underwater geometric shapes at a depth of 2,000 meters were identified with the help of sonar. Studies of other structures like unearthly in modern-day Japan have allowed scientists to determine that the two giant pyramidal structures are really impressive. Each of them is larger than the Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt. Recently, American and French scientists as well as other countries that are conducting surveys in areas of the seabed of the Bermuda Triangle, claim to have found a pyramid standing upright on the seabed that has never been discovered. The length of the base of this pyramid reached 300 meters, 200 meters height, and distance from base to the tip of the pyramid is about 100 meters above the seafloor. When talking about size, this newly rediscovered pyramid is larger in scale than the pyramids of ancient Egypt. On top of the pyramid there are two very large holes. Seawater at high speed move through the second hole, and therefore the raging waves roll by forming a giant vortex that makes the waters around this cause a massive surge waves and mist on the sea surface. This new discovery makes scientists wonder if this is having an effect on passing boats and planes and could be the reason for all the mystery surrounding the area. There are several Western scholars who argue that the pyramid on the seabed may have been initially made on the mainland, after which a devastating earthquake struck and changed the landscape completely. Other scientists argue that a few hundred years ago the waters of the Bermuda Triangle area may have as one of the cornerstone activities of the people of Atlantis, and pyramids on the sea floor may be a supply warehouse for them. Perhaps it is related to the underwater race of humanoids discovered in Washington state in 2004, the so-called aquatic ape beings? A more detailed study over time will give results that are difficult to imagine. Scientists have processed all of the data and concluded that the surface is perfectly smooth for it to look like glass or ice. The size of the pyramids are nearly 3 times the size of the pyramids of Cheops. This news was sensational, and was discussed at a conference in Florida and even reported to local Florida newspapers. The journalists present in it have a lot of pictures and high-resolution computerized data, which show 3-dimensional pyramids perfectly smooth, without being covered with a surface free of debris or algae or cracks. There is also a suspicion that the Bermuda Triangle and the area where this pyramid was supposedly located may be some sort of holy grounds that is being protected by the fabled Atlanteans, that whatever crosses over the location is considered an offering. Others hypothesize that the pyramid can attract and collect cosmic rays from the so-called energy field or quantum vacuum, and that this may have been used as an Atlantean power plant. With the mystery still surrounding the Egyptian pyramids and the fact that the pyramidal structure seems to be found in almost all ancient cultures, it's going to be hard to tell for certain the origin of this structure or if it truly exists. True or false? It doesn't sound too real to me, said Calvin Jones of the Florida State Division of Historical Resources. I am always open-minded because we're always learning new things. But the idea of a pyramid structure, let alone one made of glass, under more than 10 feet of water, the chances are about 1 in a million. Jones said if it is a genuine archaeological find, the pyramid would have to have been built between 10,000 BC and 6,000 BC, when the continental shelf was not covered by water, said Chisholm. Florida archaeologists agree with him on the time span, but disagree with many other of his group's claims. Florida State University anthropologist Glenn Doran professor said the earliest Near East pyramids are dated to about 4000 BC and all New World pyramids are dated after 1 AD, so any such structure off the coast of Florida would be at least 2000 years older than all other known pyramids. Other underwater pyramids are found. In 1977, a mysterious discovery was made on the floor of the Atlantic concerning an unknown technology. A 650-foot pyramid was mysteriously lit up, with sparkling white water surrounding it that turned deep green, a shocking contrast to the dark black waters at that depth. The discovery was photographed by Arl Marshall's expedition off Cape Sal. Another huge pyramid, in 10,000 feet of Atlantic water, was reported to have been found with a pulsating crystal on top of it, by Tony Bennett's expedition. The group also found an opaque crystal tablet there, and reported that when a light was beamed through it, mysterious inscriptions became visible. More underwater pyramids were found off Central America, Yucatan, and Louisiana, where domes were found in the Straits of Florida. A marble Greek-style building was found between Florida and Cuba. And what about the column that radiated energy? Dr. Zink found in the Bahamas, and Zink also brought up other artifacts from his dives over Atlantis, and he was interviewed by Mind International agent Steve Forsberg. Other pyramids have been explored by Dr. Ray Brown on the sea floor off the Bahamas in 1970. Brown was accompanied by 4 divers who also found geodes, domes, rectangular buildings, unidentified metallic instruments, and a statue holding a mysterious crystal containing miniature pyramids. The metal devices and crystals were taken to Florida for analysis at a university there. What was discovered was that the crystal amplified energy that passed through it. Perhaps this is the reason for the glass-like pyramid. Dr. Ray Brown's crystal sphere. In 1970, Dr. Ray Brown, a naturopathic practitioner from Mason, Arizona, went scuba diving with some friends near the Bari Islands in the Bahamas, close to a popular area known as the Tongue of the Ocean. This was depicted in the TV show In Search of Atlantis, originally made in 1979. During one of his dives, Brown became separated from his friends, and while searching for them he was startled when he came across a strange pyramid shape silhouetted against the aquamarine light. Upon investigating further, Brown was surprised by how smooth and mirror-like was the stone surface of the whole structure, with the joints between the individual blocks almost indiscernible. Swimming around the capstone, which Brown thought might have been lapis lazuli, he discovered an entrance and decided to explore inside. Passing along a narrow hallway, Brown finally came to a small rectangular room with a pyramid-shaped ceiling. He was totally amazed that this room contained no algae or coral growing on the inner walls. They were completely spotless. In addition, though Brown had brought no torch with him, he could nevertheless see everything in the room with his normal eyesight. The room was well lit, but no direct light source was visible. Brown's attention was drawn to a brassy metallic rod 3 inches in diameter hanging down from the apex of the center of the room, and at its end was attached a many-faceted red gem, which tapered to a point. Directly below this rod and gem, sitting in the middle of the room, was a stand of carved stone topped by a stone plate with scrolled ends. On the plate there was a pair of carved metal bronze-colored hands, life-sized, which appeared blackened and burned, as if having been subjected to tremendous heat. Nestled in the hands, and situated 4 feet directly below the ceiling rod gem point, was a crystal sphere 4 inches in diameter. Brown tried to loosen the ceiling rod and red gemstone, but neither would move. Returning to the crystal sphere, he found, to his amazement, that it separated easily from the bronze handholders. With the crystal sphere in his right hand, he then made his way out of the pyramid. As he departed, Brown felt an unseen presence and heard a voice telling him never to return. Going back 5,000 years. The Chinese are said to possess some of the oldest and most ancient documents known to man. Master Li Hongxian's Yuan Falun is said to have an explanation of the discovery of a prehistoric civilization as follows. On Earth there are continents of Asia, Europe, South America, North America, Oceania, Africa, and the continent of Antarctica, which scientists and general geology called continental plates. Since the formation of continental plates until Sekarang, there are already tens of millions of years of history. It can be said also that many mainland from the ocean floor that rises to the top. There are also a lot of land that sank to the seabed, since this condition is stable until the situation is now, already historic tens of millions of years. But in many seafloor, has found a number of large high buildings with exquisite carvings, and not from the cultural heritage of modern mankind, so surely the building that was created before he sank to the bottom of the sea. Seen from this angle, the mystery of the pyramids on the seabed has been resolved. We are simply seeing the results of a cataclysmic earth-changing event which resulted in raised sea levels and many lost coastal civilizations. Scientists know more about the surface of the moon than they do about the depths of the Earth's oceans. Perhaps we should follow James Cameron's lead and start asking more questions about what is really down there, maybe even exploring for ourselves.